So this is part 3 of the Matchday 1 World Cup predictions. This is the final set of games, the final 8 of the opening group stage matches. Obviously I did part 1 where I did the opening with the first 4 groups, first 4 of the 12, and then on the next 4 in part 2. So this is the last 4 of the opening games here. These are taking place in the midweek coming up. So let's get into this. We'll start with Group I. So of course this group we have France, we have Norway, Senegal and Iraq. So this is very much the group of death. I think this is probably the strongest group in the tournament, and the draw looks very harsh on Iraq, who obviously qualified through the Asian playoff thing. They got in through that. They done very well to qualify, but very harsh draw here on them for sure. Top nations here, all of them will be looking so far. You've got France, one of the favourites. A lot of people's picked to win this competition. It's easy to see why. Former Lisaison, potential Ballon d'Or winner, Mbappe always turns up for France, always finds another level for them. He's his best performances have been for France. Like, he's better for France than he is at club level. His performances for France have always been excellent. He's always, even in the Euros where they've not done great, he's been the reason they've kept going. And if you look at the last 2 World Cups, so they've made the final back to back, obviously lost one and then won it in 2018. It's key to both of them, goals he scores, how important he is to the team. He's always great for France, always brilliant, and they have so many options. They've got quality in every position. France squad depth is some of the best in the tournament, and that's could be key, especially when the tournament goes on. The most people's picks to win this group, I think they will win it. I think Norway are definitely going to pose a real challenge, and I think Senegal have definitely got that potential as well. But France, I definitely think are a potential winner. I had them going all the way to the semi-final in my predictions, and I think that's where they'll face Spain. And we've seen them play each other quite a bit in recent years. They'll be very familiar with each other now. Spain have recently had a bit of a hold over them. They obviously beat them in the Nations League semi-final, 5-4. That's the type of game that, you could see between these two. And then it was a very good game when they played in the Euros previous summer, where Spain beat them as well. So they seem to meet each other a lot. If you come down to it, honestly, 50-50 game could go either way. But ultimately, when it's I do think that Spain, the form they're on at the moment, they've got that they're just in a really good place, aren't they? Just the winning sort of mentality they've got at the moment, form they're on. Oh, but game could go either way. If it is those two that face off, it could be any number of combination of teams, but a lot of people have that France-Spain semi-final. If they both win the groups, there's a very good chance they could both get to that stage. So France, they are opening game is against Senegal. Senegal, I had 3rd in this group. I had them going through as one of the 3rd place teams. I'm a bit less convinced by them as I was maybe before these friendlies started. We see Nicholas Jackson get himself sent off, which he does a lot. We see them 0-0 with Saudi Arabia, where Saudi Arabia, from what I've heard, were the better team. But the African Cup of Nations performance was so good. Senegal, obviously we had the whole thing that I spoke about in another video with them going off the pitch when Morocco got what would have been a winning penalty, but then missed a penalty. They won in extra time, Senegal, 2-0 convincing, but then were stripped of the trophy months later. So that was, I think they'll come into this having had that happen to them with like a real point to prove, and I think they'll be really up for this tournament. But just whether or not the players all kind of gel together. They've got so much quality in the team, a lot of top players playing in, a lot of top players in most positions, and you think, if it all comes together for them, could be really good. Have got the ability to go deep into this tournament. They've got the ability to be one of the surprise package teams, but and also a very tough group they're in as well. I do think France start with a win. I'm going for a 2-0 France win. I think they're going to be too strong, and I think Senegal are going to have to look for the other games for the points. As for Norway against Iraq, I was confident of a convincing Norway win. I was going to go for an easy Norway win, but see Iraq get a draw. I think they got a draw against Spain in a friendly. I know it's only a friendly, you can't read too much into it. But certainly they did really well. I can't remember what Zach's score was, but they did well against. I remember seeing they had a good performance against Spain. So maybe they could be hard to play against. Maybe they could set up to be hard to beat and cause all of this lot a problem. I think they'll have a goal in them, but I think Norway should be getting a win here. I think Norway are one of my sort of dark horse picks. I think they're a team that could go very far in this competition. I think they could be a real threat. The form they're on at the moment, a lot of players playing on good form. The qualifying performance is fantastic. Beat Italy heavily twice. The amount of goals they scored was just incredible. They've got one of the best goal scorers in the world in Erling Haaland, and they're not sure of the creative options to supply him either. So I think they're going to have a very good tournament. Norway. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Norway win there. And I think they'll start with a win. I think France will start with a win, and that's what I see happening there in that group. Moving on now to Group J, we've got Argentina, Austria, Algeria, and Jordan. Now, of course, Argentina, the holders, one of the favourites going back into this competition, and they have got they could go back to back here. It's very difficult to go back to back. It's been a long time since anyone's done that. I will say that. However, I think this Argentina team has certainly got the makings of a team that can. You've got this is the last big tournament for Lionel Messi. It's going to be kind of his send-off. Goal scorer in Alvarez is fantastic. I think Enzo Fernandez has had a fantastic season. He's going to be key to them. I think they've got the squad selection right. I think defensively they're good as well. I think they're going to be, and I think in the last World Cup, you see the way they got through the tournament. They've got that experience. They've got that winning mentality. They've won back-to-back Copa Americas. They are a team that, you know, they just know how to get through these tournaments. It's just a team of winners that know how to win, and I think, you know, them going back to back definitely could happen. They've definitely got to be in the discussion as a winner. You know, I think I didn't predict them as my winners just because I think it's very tough to go back to back. I had them in the had them get into the quarter-final stage where they face Portugal, and that's pretty much just a toss of a coin, isn't it? But you know, they could definitely see them making the final again. Could see them winning it. They start with a game against Algeria. I did have them winning this group. Argentina. The other game is Austria against Jordan. I had Austria going through in second. I do think they have a bit more to offer than the other two, and I say that because you know, if you look at their Euro 2024 performance, was fantastic. They're a team that I think has underachieved in the past. They've had teams that have underachieved. They've maybe never done as well as they maybe should have done for a long time. I think, you know, there's been tournaments we've not seen them in as well in terms of World Cups, but they qualified really well this time around. I think coming into this tournament, they're on good form. I think they're a team that could cause problems. I think they could be a real kind of, you know, they've got an upset in them as well. We'll say that. Jordan, don't really know that much about. We don't really know what they're going to be like too much. But what we do know about Algeria, though, is Algeria are a team that, coming from Africa, qualified well. They're a team that did well, were fairly good Africa Cup of Nations. I think they're a team that have definitely could do quite well. Had them going through as the third place team ahead of Jordan. But I definitely think there's maybe an opportunity there for Jordan with 3 teams potentially qualifying. But starting with Argentina against Algeria. Now, historically, Argentina seems to, even last time when they won it, they lost in the first game. Sometimes they don't always perform in the first game. I think Algeria are definitely going to be hard to beat. I think they could cause some problems for them. I think Argentina might have to work for this a bit, but I think they know how to find a way to win. Argentina, even if they're not at their best at times as well. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 Argentina win. I think it'll be frustrating at times, but they have to break them down. But I think they'll find a way through to get the win in that first game against Algeria. As for Austria against Jordan, now I feel like Austria have got more experience, more quality. Jordan, they qualified well. We've seen them do fairly good at the. We've seen them do very well actually at the Asian Cup a few years ago. They're definitely a team with potential. They're definitely a team that could surprise in this tournament. It's maybe not being spoken about enough. However, I just feel like the other 3 maybe a bit more experience. I think, you know, they definitely could cause Austria problems, but I don't know. Because we don't really know how they're going to fare against a decent European side yet. We've only really seen them going up against other teams from the same continent, so it's a bit of an unknown. I think it could go one or 2 ways. I'm going for a 2-0 Austria win just because I'm not really sure, to be perfectly honest, what to expect from Jordan. Now on to the next group now, where we've got Group K. Now this is Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan and the Congo. Now I think you've got two teams here that we're seeing for the first time, and we've got 2 teams that people are expecting a lot from. So we see, so obviously Portugal start with a game against the Congo. Now the Congo very good, unlucky not to go further at the Africa Cup of Nations in the winter. Very good in the playoffs, getting through that as well. Having been disappointed missing out right there, they have to go through the playoff and then qualifying through that for the first ever time for the World Cup. Fantastic story in a nation that's improved so much over they've improved so much over the last few years, and I'm really it's a really big thing for them to get to the World Cup. And with 3 teams going through, feels like anyone's got a realistic chance of qualifying. They go up against Uzbekistan. I ultimately think it could come down between them 2 when they play each other for the 3rd place. Realistically, you'd expect Colombia and Portugal to be the top 2. Portugal favourites for this one, very heavily fancied, and I certainly think they're going to go well as well. I did have them as one of the teams I really think could win this tournament, especially if you look at our midfield. But attacking options are fantastic as well down the wing. But if you think they've got two Champions League, back-to-back Champions League winning midfielders, you've got João Neves, you've got Vitinha in there, they're just going to control the tempo of the game. They're going to cause any team they come up against problems. And the midfield for Portugal is, I would say, the best in the tournament. When you think you've got Bruno Fernandes sitting in front of them as well. Defensively, they're solid. I rate Diego Costa as a goalkeeper as well. I think Martinez has a much better style of play to what they would have seen at Portugal in previous tournaments. So I definitely think Portugal, everything's there in this team to do it and to have a fantastic tournament. I did have them top in this group, and I did have Colombia in second, because I do think Colombia are a dark horse for this competition. I think they're a team that could go very far, and I think they'll give any one of the big teams a very, very good game. But I do think they would. There's teams that I think they would fall short against potentially, but I do think that, you know, on their day they turned up, they could cause damage against anyone. They've got Luis Diaz, one of the best players in Europe, standout player for them, and solid all over the pitch. And I think they could cause a lot of teams problems. And I did have them going. I had them up against Spain in the round of 16 in my predictions, and I think if they went up against each other, what I would imagine is it might even be an extra time. I think it would be a game that I could just see Spain winning, like one of the games of the tournament, but Spain just edging through. That was my Colombia prediction, but they definitely could go beyond that. They definitely are capable of a real good run in this tournament. And they're obviously going up against Uzbekistan in their first game. They're Portugal and the Congo. I'm going for a 3-1 Portugal win. I think Portugal have got the goals in them. I think they will get the positive start that they need, the convincing start. I think the Congo have definitely got a goal in them, and I definitely think when they play Uzbekistan, it's going to be very tight. I did have Uzbekistan edging them for third, but that one really could go either way. I think the Congo might maybe be a bit more attacking. I think Uzbekistan, I think, maybe built on a bit more of a solid defence. It'll be interesting when they do clash. Uzbekistan, very good at the Asian Cup. They're another team that really sort of come onto the scene for the first time. Then they go and qualify for the World Cup well as well. So they're coming into this. They're going up against a very good Colombia team, a team that's improved a lot over recent years, very convincing in qualifying, very unlucky not to actually have won the Copa America a few years back as well. You know, this is a very good squad they've got here, Colombia, and certainly Colombian teams of the past should have done better at the World Cups perhaps. This is a team that I think has got potential to go very far. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do. I think Uzbekistan, you know, for them, I think, you know, standout player for them being Hansanov. I definitely think they could cause some problems for teams Uzbekistan. I just think Colombia will start. I'm expecting them to start with a win here. I'm going for 2-0. I think Uzbekistan at the Congo, realistically, I think when they play each other, I think that's going to be a very, very interesting game. But just because I think it could be a bit of almost a playoff to give themselves a chance to go through if one of them could beat the other one. And I think they're fairly evenly matched. I don't think there's much in it between them two, so I think that'll be an exciting game to look forward to later on in the tournament. Now, Group L. Now, this is obviously England's group. We've got England, Croatia, and then Ghana taking on Panama. That's the 4 teams in this group. We have Panama qualify for another World Cup again here. They're getting more consistent at doing that. Panama, they were good in the qualifying this time around. They won that some sort of Mid-America Cup. I seem to remember them doing really well in a few years back as well. They're a nation that's definitely improved. You know, on paper, the team you'd expect to finish bottom of this group. That's what I predicted. That's what most people predicted. But what I will say this, I don't think they're going to be batters in every game. I think they could cause teams. They definitely could get a draw against Ghana, and I do think they could definitely give a decent game to the 3 teams for sure. Be hard to play against. Ghana had a bit of a disaster, didn't qualify for the African Cup of Nations. However, they qualified really well for this. They do look like they've improved since the last World Cup. They do look like they could go. They could be a team that gets out of this group. They could be a team that has a decent run, I think. I didn't predict them to go that far. I don't feel they're the strongest African side, but second place is definitely possible, and I see quite a few people have predicted them second over Croatia. However, I stuck with Croatia second because I do think they will be a problem for anyone that they go up against. I think this might not be the team they had in 2018. This might not be the best ever Croatian team, but what they have still got is a good mix of youth and experience. Players that have gained more experience since the last tournaments as well. Players like Rivaldo. You've still got players like Modric, Kovacic, Perisic. So you've got that experience there as well. You've got a decent options in every position. So you know, I do think it's a decently balanced team that I do think could cause England problems. I think they'll be hard to play against. I think they're hard to break down. For me, England and Croatia just feels like a game that's destined for a 1-0 England. I think it's destined for a really, really tight game. Chances at both ends. England probably dominating the game of being frustrated by Croatia, and I could just see one moment of creativity, putting it on the plate for Harry Kane and him to get the finish. That's how I see that game going. But Croatia have definitely got a goal in them, but I do think the way England are playing at the moment, how good we are defensively, I think could be key in getting through this group and actually key in the whole tournament. Not 100% sure what the starting 11s are going to be. Mainly there's Gordon, Rashford, which one will start, and Bellingham, Rodgers, which one will start. I think they're the debates really. I think the rest of the team picks itself, but that is they're the two areas that I think will be up for debate for a lot of the tournament, really, to be honest. But yeah, Croatia definitely a good side, definitely a team that I'd expect to get out of the group, and I would say in second, and at least. And I do think that, you know, they're maybe not being spoken about because of the amount of how many other teams are in this competition, but I do think they are still capable of going fairly far. For sure, you can never completely count them out. As for Ghana against Panama, I think Panama will give a decent game here. I think Ghana have got slightly more to offer though, and I would expect them to get the win here. And I do think it'll be tight, and I don't think a draw is completely off the table. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Ghana win there. So that's my thoughts for the final 4 group games. That's all the matchday 1 predictions done now. Obviously, some of them have been underway. We've seen all the hosts kick off. Some more World Cup reaction videos are coming up. I did one to the opening group. Some more coming up for the next set of group games. So look out for that. That's my thoughts ahead of those games. And yeah, we'll leave it there for today. Next set of predictions will be obviously the second round of match days after all the opening ones have been played. So that'll be an interesting one to do. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.